Hello, traders. How are we doing this morning? It is Monday. It was a beautiful long weekend. Well, longish weekend. Hopefully everybody out there in YouTube land enjoyed. Hope you all enjoyed your long holiday weekends as well. If you are in the United States and you celebrated. If not, it was probably just a normal weekend for you, but hopefully you enjoyed it as well. My name is Jason Krutzky. It is a pleasure to be with you this morning. And I am here to answer your questions about TrendSpider. So I see that a few of you have tuned in. Thank you. Please introduce yourself in the chat. Say hello. I'd love to know your name, what you're doing here, why you've tuned in this morning. If you have specific questions for us, just go ahead and start asking them in the chat. If you don't have specific questions, let me know what you want to talk about. We could talk about anything on TrendSpider. While I await your questions, because usually there is a bit of a lag between what I see and when you guys type. Let's talk about what's going on the charts here. Over the past, obviously last week was a very kind of slow week. Wasn't much to the price action last week. Volume was super low on the week as well. But something that I noticed, because every week I write a little market update blog, and something that I found to be very interesting about this week in particular is it's generally a really good week for markets. If we pull up seasonality, we can break seasonality down by a couple of different time frames. We can break it down by month of the year, by week of the year, by day of the week, and by hour of the day. And when we break it down by week of the year, we see that this week happens to be, it just has a really good performance. 75% win rate on the SPY over the past 19 years for this week. And when you compare that to all the other weeks out of the year, there are only a few that equal it or trump it. So looks like maybe 4 weeks ago we had another 75% winner week, and then before that it's the summertime. Really, you got a 79% winner here, you've got a 79% winner here. This is like third week February or so, but there really aren't that many weeks that are this strong for the SPY. If we pop over to the Qs real quick, we see the exact same thing. You've got a 75% win rate this month, or rather this week. That's actually the best win rate of the year on the Qs is this week. So if you're shorting tech this week, you are pushing against some of the best seasonality that there is. We can add mean change to this. We see mean change for this week historically over the past 19 years, 1.15%. That's pretty interesting. I mean, 1.15% from where we're at right now. Let's see. Well, that brings us to like almost 395 to more new highs. It's interesting to know, right? I mean, being able to see this is great. I'm going to pop over to IWM real quick so we could see it there. IWM, pretty much the same deal, 75% win rate. This week, there are only a couple of weeks out of the year that this index performs better. You also have a mean change here, almost 1.5% historically. So this could be a pretty bullish week. We'll have to see how it all plays out, but kind of feels to me like it could be a pretty bullish week. Gregory, how's it going, man? Thank you for being here. 2-minute time frame. You want to view, 2-minute time frame. You want to view the action on October 27th. Is there a quick way to go there? I tried to go there by dragging the chart, but the data would only load until November 6th. Yeah, on the 2-minute time frame, my friend. Unfortunately. Charts go back, I believe it's about 300. No, it's not. It's more than 300 candles. Maybe it's like two. I'll have to ask. That is an obscure question, but the data does not go back far enough to see that October 27th action on the 2-minute time frame. Unfortunately, I hate to give you bad news on that. Let me see if I can find out real quick. Maybe it's like 20. I kind of want to say it's like 2,200 candles back on any time frame. That's what I think it is. I'm gonna find out. I'll ask our dev team, and I'll find out the exact number there for you. What's up, Mahir? You just signed up over the weekend? Awesome. And you wanted to see how to use cup and handle pattern with the scanner. So cup and handle patterns are not identifiable on the platform. There are a ton of different patterns that are available: broadening patterns, channels, double top, double bottom, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, triangles, wedges, but no cup and handle. So let's talk about what a handle really is, and what the right side of the cup and what a handle really is kind of like a high tight flag, right? So if that's true, then what I can do is I could actually share this with you. Let me see. Here we go. Now this is weekly. Let me see what comes up here. Yeah, so this is kind of where your head's at. This isn't really. The thing that's tricky about a cup and handle pattern, here's a cup and handle. I mean, essentially, right? The thing that's tricky about a cup and handle pattern is that there's no real easy way to quantify the cup piece, right? Because it could be like any distance between this and this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this high tight flag with you, this scanner. This is something that I've made, so this is just one of my own personal scans. And then what I would do if I were you, and we could talk through kind of like why it's built the way it's built, why I built it this way. Here you go. So you can download this to your account. Mahir, take this link, copy it, go to a new tab, paste it, and it's going to bring this up. So click on the login and import, and then just open, like, it'll save to your account, open your account, and then in the upper right hand corner it'll appear over here, and just click on that and it'll load in. It'll also save in your shared scanner list as well. So what I've done here, we can kind of talk through the conditions. Price close less than range high, a 5 candle range high by at least 10%. So we're what's the best way to say this? We are not at the highs. We're not at recent highs. We're more than 10% off of the recent highs, right? Price close within range of the range high by 25. So we're in a window. We're between 25% and 10% from a 5 candle range high. I've defined that price is just greater than $5. This is just a filtering mechanic for, I don't want to see any stocks below $5. And then I've defined any of these things are true. So week 4, the high 4 weeks ago is greater than the low 8 weeks ago by at least 100%, or the high 5 weeks ago is greater than the low 9 weeks ago by at least 100%. So that's defining, right? These two conditions, I'm saying either of these are true, any of the following. I'm saying either of these are true. So that's defining the right side of the cup. And then this is defining the sideways price action that we've gone sideways. We're off 5 weeks ago's high by X%. And it's really as simple as that. You could get more specific with it if you wanted to. But this, I think, is a great place to kind of start. And, if maybe that 100% move is not necessary, come in here and change it to 50% or to 75%, or really just whatever percentage you want to define. There are no rules here. This is just kind of something basic that I used just because I know that these high tight flags are essentially the right side of the cup, right? But play around with this. Obviously, weekly time frame may be quite too big of a time frame for you. If it is, maybe you want to find 15-minute ones. Well, we could go in here and we could change all the time frames. Remember, I just clicked on the 3 dots up here, set all time frames, make it 15. And then if you do that, then maybe you want to redefine these percentages. Maybe you want to redefine the range that you're trading in. Again, no rules here. Play around with it. Play around with it and let me know what you find. And if you have questions when you're playing around with it, do feel free to hit me up. If you play around with it here while I'm live, obviously you can ask me here. If I'm not live, you can always hit me up on Twitter. I'm going to give you guys my Twitter handle. There's my Twitter handle, Krutzky Trades. Ashley, no problem. It's my pleasure to do them. I appreciate you tuning in. Are we likely to bring in level 2 data in the future? That's a great question. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that. My expectation would be that whether or not we bring it in directly to all accounts, I have a hard time saying when or if that might happen. I would imagine that over time it will come. It might be like an additional data feed that you would have to pay for. Or you might be able to eventually bring it in via your broker. But unfortunately, providing the answer to that is a little outside of my pay grade at this time. I just don't know the answer. But you're always welcome, Ashley. You're always welcome to make that request. Over here, the contact us button. Oh, you can't see that very well. Let me pull this up a little. The contact us button right here is going to be your best friend for these sorts of requests. These guys are fielding requests all day. Don't hesitate to hit them up. Tell them you want L2. Steven, what's up? You're at work. You can't participate, but you're here. Does your boss know that you're watching this as well? Hey, man, I appreciate that. That's wildly kind of you to say, to take the time to send some thanks over. That means a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it, Steven. It's my pleasure. I really enjoy doing these. I like being able to answer questions immediately. I know it can be tricky and sometimes frustrating to not get an answer, to not know how to do something. So, oh, nice. You're the boss. Let's go. Fire Chief. Where are you located in the world? Fires in general are something that I'm particularly mindful of because I live in Colorado and we get fires here and they're scary. Had one not too long ago. That was like absolutely crazy. Mahir, let me ask you, man, like, does it make sense why I take this direction with looking for covenant handle patterns? One of the things that I always, and it's a process to kind of do this, but one of the things that I've learned in my time, especially experimenting with finding setups using the strategy tester or using the scanner, sometimes you have to break things down into your component parts or into their component parts, right? Like instead of defining the whole cup and handle, we don't really necessarily care about the cup part. What you're really interested in is the handle, right? You're really interested in that flag that's coming off of it because that's the move. Now, if there's another section of the cup and handle that you're interested in, we could perhaps talk about trying to find it. But instead of thinking about the whole thing that you're looking for, think about its individual pieces. And sometimes that's a beeline that'll like direct you into how to build that script. You retired from Charlotte and now work at a rural fire department. Second career. Right on. Well, good for you. Good on you. We love our firefighters around here in Colorado. They should get more love than they get. They get a lot of love, but they deserve more because they do great work, and we appreciate them. So, cheers to you, Stephen. So, did you have any questions? Are you curious about anything? Ashley, are you curious about anything else? Okay. So, Gregory just heard back from Dev. 27. It's rough, but 2,700 to 3,000 candles back on any time frame. How in the world can I get the smooth Heikin-Ashi indicator? I'm intrigued by it and can't figure out how to script it or get it developed. Well, send me a link, Steven. Where is that indicator available? I've never really heard of it. Heikin-Ashi's tricky. I'm going to tell you. One thing that you do not want to do, Stephen, don't go developing strategies using Heikin-Ashi. Promise me you won't do that. You will be sorely disappointed if you do that. Quantum, what's up, man? Thanks for the sesh. No problem. Happy to be here. It's a trading view. Steven, send me a link. Send me a link to the one that you're looking for. You love the anchored VWAP suite. Yes. How can I set up an alert for the anchored VWAP oscillator indicator to make to alert me when it switches from -1 to +1 and 2 15-minute bars at hold on. All right. I'm not super familiar with that indicator. So let's first do this. I need to see it. Okay. So what is this? So 5 lit. I might need to do a little reading on this, but you're trying to find out. You're saying you want it to see, you want to see it going from -1 to 1. Is that in 2 15-minute bars? I'm the last little half of that, or the last little bit of that, Quantum, I'm a little confused what you're saying. When it switches from -1 to 1. Looks like it doesn't do that instantaneously, but it can. It kind of almost did here, huh? On just this random name that I'm looking at. Let me go to something way more liquid and see. Oh, interesting. Looks like straight up -1 to 1 is not something that happens instantaneously. So indicator, let's just see here. Yeah, okay. And then you want so many options here. All right, let me figure out what I'm actually looking at. Maybe easier to look at 2 15-minute candles at +1. So you're saying you want 2 concurrent 15-minute candles with a +1 reading? Is that what you're saying? So I would probably do this. Anchored VWAP oscillator upper equals constant value of 1. And then I would do this. You duplicate it. Usually the start of a strong uptrend. Okay, interesting. Got it. Got it. Okay, so this is probably how I would do it. And let me just see something. I'm going to go ahead and create this alert. But also what I'm going to do, just to make sure it's finding the right thing, I'm just opening up the market scanner. And then we'll go to 15. ABWAP oscillator upper equal to constant value of 1. I'm just going to do a few of these in a row. And we'll do the 500. Just want to make sure that it's actually yielding the results I'm looking for. All right, so no. So maybe that's not what we do. I'm learning with you guys here. Let's see. We're going to go to the how-tos. It's not what we're looking for either. Green bars, percentage of anchored VWAPs built off fractal highs, which are below the price action. So if it's one, if it's a value of 1 quantum, if it's a value of 1, does that mean that price is above all of those 10 anchored VWAPs? Is that the idea? Calculate the percentage of anchored VWAPs built off fractal lows, which are above price action. So if something got it. So if something has green instances where you have green bar and a red bar, that means you are, in some cases, you're above anchored VWAPs from highs and you're also below some anchored VWAPs from lows. And if you have just a red bar, that means you're below all of the anchored VWAPs, right? Presumably. And then if you have only green, that means you're above all the anchored VWAPs, right? So instances that are just green means you're above all of them. Instances where you're just red means you're below all of them. And instances where you have a mix, you're above some, below some. But specifically above anchored VWAPs from highs and below anchored VWAPs from lows. Huh. All right. Interesting. So then when I said this, upper greater than a constant value of, let's say 1. Let's say greater than instead of equal to. Is 1 the max? Yeah, 1's the max, huh? Maybe that's not going to work then. You'll have to excuse my not knowing the answer to this question. And presumably, Quantum, you want to find instances where there are no reds, right? So then you would also want to define that your anchored VWAP lower is equal to a constant value of 0, presumably. Let's see. This ain't, That's a little frustrating. You're looking for the switch from red to green. Okay. From like solid red to solid green? So like this right here? It's close, but it ain't quite right. Is this what you're kind of looking for? Like right here? Yeah, okay. So let's say then. Indicator. 15-minute anchor VWAP oscillator lower is less than a constant value of, negative 0.75. One candle to go. And then indicator. I don't know if this is going to work, but upper is greater than a constant value of 0.75. Let's see. No. Weird. Oh, gosh, you guys. I'm an idiot. Like this. Except you want, presumably on the previous candle. Okay, so I'm an idiot. I had my chart on the hourly time frame and my scanner on the 15-minute time frame. That doesn't really work. Okay, so then the next thing that I want to do, let's do this. Okay, so here, I see the problem. So I'm going to say lower equals a constant value of -1. And I'm also going to say upper equals a constant value of 0. And we're going to say for one candle ago. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip that. And I'm going to say 15-minute lower equal to a constant value of 0. And upper equal to constant value of 1. Let's see. Does that find what I'm after? Bang! Yes. That's what you want. Right? So we'll call this quantum cap. A VWAP os flip. And then this is bullish, right? Yeah. So we'll save this. It's all possible, quantum. We just have to have our charts on the right time frame. That's what it boils down to. Yeah. And you want this on specifically on the 15-minute. Do you want multiples? You had said something earlier about 2. Now that I understand, you maybe look for 2 15-minute at +1. Do you want me to send you this or do you want to edit this more? So just take this. Here you go. Take this and then, okay, cool. You understand what to do now. I guess it's really just all about those. Just use constant value, define 0, define 1. And when you define the upper, just remember you got to define the lower too. Whenever you're defining the upper, you also have to define the lower. That's interesting. I've never played around with this. So then maybe like you would use like a weekly to look for like bigger, more durable trend changes, maybe? See if there's anything that went from -1 to +1 in a week. No. Huh. What about in the day? Another thought would be like multiple days or multiple sessions at -1, -1, -1, -1, -1, and then a big flip. Because it looks like that doesn't really happen very often, like that very quick change. I'm just kind of playing around with this now. I'm curious about it. And then you could, in theory, you could look for like lots of negatives and then all of a sudden, even just like a 50%. Like that seems kind of interesting. Like maybe the 1-to-1 or -1 to +1 is like too extreme. But something like this where you're close to -1 for a really long period of time, and then all of a sudden you get this flip, and that's when you start seeing that trend change right in here. I'm gonna build that on my end just for the heck of it. We can I can share this with you too. So we'll say daily oscillator lower is less than a constant value. Just so that, and the reason why I'm saying less than, I'm giving it the ability to kind of fluctuate down here. So that might be something to consider. Like even if it was just below -50, and then you just duplicate this a bunch. So you say one candle go, 2 candles ago, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then maybe here, daily IncoViewWeb upper greater than a constant value. Oh, I guess I need to also define though. I need to define that the upper doesn't exist for these, right? Because you have to do it. You have to define both sides. It's kind of interesting. You got to define both sides. So upper is we'll say like equal to a constant value 0, and then we'll say for this is true for quite a while. 1. And then finally, for the last conditions here, we'll say daily upper is greater than a constant value of 0.5, and we'll say lower is equal to a constant value 0. Now let's see what we find. Maybe we'll find nothing. I don't know. These are pretty specific conditions. RDHL. Big gap up there last week on lots of volume. We might have gotten too specific. Specificity when it comes to your scans is generally a really good thing. You want to be as specific as you can be, because you want to filter out the noise, right? You want to find specifically what you're after. But then it can also kind of kill you. Or it can kill results, right? You get too specific and then you just don't find anything because you're being so specific. Interesting. Yeah, no, you have to play around with this, but just that RDHL. Maybe even a slightly different time frame. This is interesting. I've never used this indicator before. Thank you for pointing me in its direction. Yeah, so here's kind of that big trend change. Let's try it on the 15 and just see. We might be shooting ourselves. I don't like that it's coming up with all these like teeny weeny little stocks and stuff that is not, that doesn't have much activity either. So what you may want to do, just kind of noticing the results that I'm getting here, we might be too strict on these conditions. I don't really know. But also we might want to define some minimums, like a minimum volume condition or a minimum price condition, just to kind of filter out this noise, because these are, you know, clearly not much volume on RBKB here. Nobody's really trading this thing, so why would you want to? And also the signal doesn't mean that much. So anyway, maybe the trick is just the flip. Maybe that is all you need, is just the flip. Cool. Interesting, man. There's a few more of you guys here. Thank you for being here. If you're enjoying this stream and you'd like to see more of these streams, I'm going to tell you a very quick and easy way to make sure that I keep doing them. And that way is by liking and subscribing to the channel. I know that people ask you to do that all the time on YouTube, but the reason why they ask you to do that all the time is because these are metrics that we're all being judged off of. So the more you guys subscribe and the more you come hang out at these things, then the more likely I will get to keep doing them. So please shoot me a like. And even more importantly, I don't even care as much about the likes, but subscribe to the channel. That helps. For real, that helps. So, what? We're 40 minutes into this thing. Anybody have any questions? Like I say, there are a few more folks here. I see some likes coming in. Thank you. Hit the subscribe button too. Anybody with any other questions? I've talked to a few of you guys now, but I know that there's some folks watching that I have not spoken to, that have not said hello, haven't shot me a GM yet. Cracked, what's up? You're back. Cracked is a regular here. Happy to see you. Did you have a nice weekend? Do you have questions about anything? Are you curious about anything? What was the anchored VWAP indicator for? Good question. Excuse me, Quantum, our friend Quantum Cap, just above us, was asking me about, he was looking for instances where this anchored VWAP oscillator indicator flips from a -1 reading to a +1 reading. Essentially, if you're not familiar with this anchored VWAP oscillator, I was not either, but the way that it works is it utilizes Williams fractals, and it draws anchored VWAPs off of the 10 most recent highs and the 10 most recent lows. And then we get a value of where price is relative to those anchored VWAPs. So you got 20 anchored VWAPs coming off of 10 most recent highs, 10 most recent lows. If price is above all of them, then you're going to get a 1 reading, and you'll get a 0 reading on the red side. So on the green side, it'll be 1 up here. And then on the red side, it'll be 0. You won't see anything. So like this right here on SPY, this section over the past, however many hourly candles, this is just a strong uptrend, right? Because we're above all these anchored VWAPs from highs, all these anchored VWAPs from lows. If at some point price falls below an anchored VWAP from a high or a low, you'll get a reduced reading. You'll be presumably 0.1 is above 1 anchored VWAP, 0.2 is above 2, 0.3, and so on. And then negative would be the same deal. So where we at right here, we're above 9. Essentially, we're like above 9 of the upper anchored view apps, and we're below 1 of the lower anchored view apps. If that makes sense, right? Because you have a value of 0.9 on the green side, and you have a value of negative 0.1 right here on the red side. So you're above 9 of the anchored view apps from the highs. You're below 1 anchored view app from a low. Now, which one it is, I don't know. You'd have to turn on Williams fractals and see. We could look. I guess, actually, here you go. Yeah, so here they are. I wonder, though, and this is the 5 length. Yeah, maybe this is... Okay, so it's just 5 of them. I don't know. I have to do a little bit more digging into this, because take the 10 most recent anchored view app off the high and the 10 most recent anchored view app off the low. And this only shows us 5 of them. So I wonder... I'm not certain about this, if this is the indicator that goes with this. I kind of don't think that it is. But anywho, that's what it was all about. That's what we're trying to figure out, is how to script that move from -1 to +1. And we got it knocked out. Correct. I had a great Thanksgiving. I appreciate you. I appreciate the sentiment. It snowed here. We got our first like real snow of the year. Well, of this season, I guess. I do love a nice snowfall. I'm a southern boy, so when it snows, even though we deal with it very well here and everything is usable and easy and driving is not scary, I'm used to town shutting down from snow. So I still treat snow days like proper snow days, and I do nothing, and it's great. So we had a great time. Any other questions from anybody about anything? I want to make sure that we spend our time nicely here. There are a few of you here. Many of you have asked a question, but some of you haven't. So if you haven't asked any questions and you have some, now's the time. Have you guys seen the per session volume by price indicator that we just released over the weekend? If not, strong recommend. This thing's really cool. Hold on, I'm going to share something with y'all so you can see it. Put the link up higher in the trend. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Let's see. Steven. Actually, Steven, I don't think it's shared. Steven, send me that. Send me the link. Send it to my Twitter, if you have Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, let me know and I'll give you my email. But yeah, I just linked a blog post to our new per session volume by price. Pretty sweet little indicator. If you are, if you're into keeping an eye on what's going on with volume profile, this thing is dope. And it's not like it's some all new indicator that you've never seen before. It's just we've never had the auto VBP, this sort of look. We haven't had this before. So having it now is really, really helpful. It's got the value area high and low, which obviously is really nice. It's just nice to be able to see what's going on with the volume distribution without having to draw them all yourself. If you're not a volume distribution person, if you don't ever watch these sorts of things, I would recommend adding this to your arsenal. It's really, really helpful. Moves above value area highs, obviously showing you quite a bit of strength. It's not super easy to push above that value area high. So this sort of thing we look for, moves below value area lows. You want to be looking for untested volume by price levels, or I'm sorry, untested point of control levels. Like this is a really nice one right here. These can be really powerful places to take trades out in the future. Like when you have a big move or just any move at all, you have this untested point of control. It's the most volume. It's the price level that the most volume occurred at a particular session. And oftentimes you'll see previous days points of control coming in and acting as levels of interest in subsequent days. Like this untested point of control from what, the 20th, huge support on the 22nd. And then you've got another one down here that's untested. So at some point, if they fail lower, keep an eye on this one, this 453 spot, because this could end up being a nice place to catch a bounce at some point. Another thing that I kind of learned when I was writing the blog post was watching when you're in an uptrend, price making higher highs and higher lows, you want to see the points of control actually moving up with price as well. So there are times when you'll be in an uptrend, but the point of control will be shifting from, it'll be making a higher high and it'll make a new low and it'll make a higher high. And sometimes that can represent, that can be a bit of a signal that it's not actually pushing higher, that it's actually distributing. Doesn't always work that way, but the same is true in lows as well. If you're in a downtrend, you're making new lows, lower highs, lower lows. You want to be looking for a point of control to be consistently kind of stair-stepping down as well. Pretty neat little tool. Like here, you had a big close. Like when you close below a value area high or low, that can oftentimes signal continuation, signal a big move in that direction of that break. So here you had a big close below the value area low and then a big move down that ultimately continued. Here you had a big move, big close above a value area high. You got gap ups the next couple of days. Pretty cool indicator if you don't use it. It's an interesting one to have on your charts and be keeping an eye on. See something here real quick. Yeah, so Steven, I don't see that link. If you want to send it, over to my my Twitter DMs, or if you want to send it to my email, let me know. I'll send you my email address. Any other questions, guys? If no other questions, then I'll probably keep this thing a little short and head on out of here for today. But if you guys do have questions, Mahir, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. I just noticed that. If you do have questions, that is why I'm here. Anything you guys are looking at for this week? Any expectations? Any charts you want to take a look at real quick? See if there's anything of interest out there. I have a tendency to be a one-track jack and just look at futures all the time. So I never really know, unless I go looking for it, I never really know what people are looking at. That's interesting. And one of the ways that I figure out what people are actually looking at is by utilizing our top mentioned on Wall Street Bets and looking for names that are kind of a little obscure. I mean, obviously, NVIDIA, Tesla, duh, everybody's talking about that. What are the future plans for the platform? Gosh, that's a huge question. I think just continued growth. I think continuing to build interesting tools, continuing to add more data, giving folks the ability to import data or subscribe to other data, be it other countries' exchanges or those sorts of things. Perhaps like what Ashley was asking for, L2, level 2 data, these sorts of things. We've just launched, soft launched trading in the platform. So you can now link your brokerage via an order routing engine like Signal Stack. Excuse me. This is brand new functionality. It's still in the process of, being built out, but quite a bit of options here as far as brokers are concerned that you can utilize to make those trades for you. So that's pretty sweet. And I imagine this is going to grow too. Oftentimes we do like our CEO Dan does, usually a couple of times a year, he'll do like a quarterly or so review of things. He'll host a webinar and kind of talk about updates, things that we've added over the last quarter, and field questions about what is on the horizon. So I would say keep an eye out for that because he hasn't done one of those in a while. Hopefully I'm not putting him on the spot. I don't know if he's tuned in. But I would keep an eye out for that because that's a good place to get a question like that answered, is direct from the man responsible for making the ultimate decisions on all things updates. Oh, okay, Steven, I see you linked it to me here. Okay, cool. Let's see what this looks like. What is this? Is there code? Ah. Expand. Wow, this is huge. I'm just gonna try something because I don't really know. Provided pipes from code is a custom indicator. Implementing smooth Hikinashi indicator. To convert this code to JavaScript, we need to understand the core logic and then replicate it in JavaScript. Here's a high-level overview of the steps involved. I'm trying to run this through ChatGPT over here to see if it'll do it. We'll give that a minute to do its thing and see if anything happens. See if we come up with anything. Oh, it's only giving me a very small example. Bummer. Yeah, this is tricky. So what I would do here, if I were you, Steven, I would reach out to the team. Again, using that contact us button right here. Write them an impassioned letter and say, this is why you guys need to add this to the platform. This is why this is important. This is why it's helpful. The more convincing you can be in that way, the more likely, if you guys can hear my dog barking in the background, I apologize. She's going crazy. The more convincing you can be in that way, the more likely that they're going to be able to push it to dev and say, yeah, actually, this would be really helpful for folks. And then we can assign somebody to it. You got no response? All right, Steven. That's unacceptable. When did you reach out? I'm surprised to hear you got no response. You sent it to the code team too. They responded and told me to reach out to the code team. Got it. Okay. The code team didn't respond. What was the email address that they, gave you? Okay, yeah, no big deal, Steven. You can hit me up. I'm probably going to jump out of here momentarily, but you can hit me up always on Twitter. I'm about to reiterate your request in our feedback channel. Just as, try and get a few more eyes on it. We do get a lot of requests. Admittedly, we do get a lot of requests for custom indicators. It is not the easiest thing in the world to manage all of them all of the time. But, the expectation of every single one getting built shouldn't exist. But, we definitely will build the ones, or they definitely will build the ones that are that they feel like will have a strong effect. Like they'll be used by more than one trader, I guess, on the platform. So again, that's kind of why I suggest like a strong reasoning. Okay, cool. So I'll do that. We'll see what happens. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the suggestion. We appreciate it. Anybody else here with anything that they need help with? Any other questions? If not, I'm going to get on out of here. I'll be back again in a day or two. We'll do this again. We've got a couple of things coming up this week. We've got PCE. Let me see here. We've got PCE on Thursday, initial jobless claims as well. PCE index 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Core PCE year over year, all of the PCEs. And then on Friday, December 1st, we've got Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking again, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So 2 items to keep on your radar this week. Could be market movers. Cheers, Steven. No problem at all. I'm always happy to be here. Always happy to chat with you guys. Last call for questions. If anybody is curious about anything, this is your time. If not, think about it. Join me again later this week. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. You'll get updates on when I go live. You'll get updates on when we add new videos. There'll be a new technical analysis series video probably in the next week and a half or so. I just sent it over to the editor. We're going to be going over, in that video, we're going to be going over building out a trading strategy from scratch, utilizing the tools in the strategy tester, specifically the Price Behavior Explorer and the performance chart and tabular data, sort of. We talk about tabular data a little bit. These guys, though, these guys are the big guys. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Going once, going twice. Last call for questions. Anybody? If nothing, we're going to roll. All right, we're going to call it. That's what we're going to do. Everybody who was here. Quantum, Cracked, Steven, Ashley, Greg, Mahir. Thank you all. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Happy Monday to everybody. If you guys need me, you know where to find me. And I'll be back again really soon. Like I said, I'm probably going to do this again on Wednesday. So feel free to hit me up if you have any questions for me in between now and then. I'm always available at Krutzky Trades on Twitter. If you have not yet taken advantage of our, well, if you missed our Black Friday deal, Cyber Monday is live now. So you got another day to take advantage of it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Oh, correct. What's up? Wanted to add membership for the next year? Yep. Reach out to the support team, Cracked. Again, via that contact us button. Just holler at them. Tell them what you're trying to do, and they will tell you what your options are. I'm gone, y'all. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Holler if you need me. I will be around. Take care. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you again very soon.